Mr. Vice President, you can't have it both ways. You invoke President Obama more than anybody in this campaign. You can't do it when it's convenient and then dodge it when it's not. There's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor.
Senator Booker, thanks for being with us. Good morning. Why are you endorsing Joe Biden?
Well, look, it's a time for us to beat Donald Trump.
Well, Senator, it's interesting how you phrase that because it sounds like it's more about beating Donald Trump than it is about liking Joe Biden as a candidate. So let me ask you about some of your past comments regarding Joe Biden. You were critical of his vote for the '94 crime bill, which disproportionately affected African Americans. And I think people who are cynical about politics, they see somebody like yourself criticize a guy and then come out and back him and they say, what changed?
Well, first of all, I love Joe Biden. He and I have had a great relationship for a long time. I wouldn't have run against him if I didn't think I was the best person to be the next president of the United States, but I'm out of the race. And as I look at him, I know factually from talking to him that some of my biggest issues, like criminal justice reform, like racial justice, like economic justice, that he is going to be a strong leader on that and can actually pull the country together.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
So on the issue of race, I couldn't agree more that this is an issue that is still not being talked about truthfully and honestly. There is not a black man I know, be he a relative, a friend, or a coworker, who has not been the subject of some form of profiling or discrimination. Growing up, my sister and I had to deal with the neighbor who told us her parents couldn't play with us because we were black. And I will say also that in this campaign, we have also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden, I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No.
Do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people. Hey, everybody. So I'm here in Alabama. I arrived here to commemorate the 55th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. I'll be walking across the Edmund Pettus Bridge again with John Lewis and so many great, great leaders and fighters. I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States. I believe in Joe. I really believe in him, and I have known him for a long time.
Administration. So is Joe Biden a return to the past?
He is, and that cannot be who we are going forward. We've got to be bigger. We've got to be bolder. We have to set a much higher mark and be relentless in pursuing that. And we've got to, importantly, invite every single person in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beto O'Rourke.
Tomorrow, March 3rd, 2020, I will be casting my ballot for Joe Biden.
And all I can tell you, whether it was Iraq, whether it was DOMA, whether it's don't ask, don't tell, those were difficult votes. I was there on the right side of history, and my friend Joe Biden was not.
Taking on the former VP at every campaign stop.
Joe Biden's campaign has received funding from over 60
billionaires in this country. So today I am asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which I endorse.
Some say if we all just calm down, the Republicans will come to their senses. But our country is in a time of crisis. The time for small ideas is over. Big problems call for big solutions.
Among all the other candidates I competed with in the Democratic primary, there's no one I've agreed with 100% of the time over the years. But one thing I appreciate about Joe Biden is he will always tell you where he stands.
We feel good about where we're going, but we always can improve. We always can improve. And I can improve as well.
You served as vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama. Is the fact that he hasn't endorsed you hurting you, and is it time?
No, it isn't hurting me, and I don't think it's time. He and I have talked about this in the very beginning. I have to earn this on my own. Remember, George, the first thing that everybody said when I announced the opposition, the Democratic opposition, said, well, Biden feels entitled because he's vice president. Imagine had the president endorsed me. It would have been, well, Biden's entitled because he thinks he's entitled because the president endorsed him.
And that's why I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States. Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made, and he became a close friend. And I believe Joe has all the qualities we need in a president right now.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know,